So we saw the rupee weakening to a new all-time low today as it plunged in trade. $1 now costs 81 rupees and 62 paise. That was the action in the currency market. Meanwhile, in the bond market, India's 10-year benchmark bond yield spiking as the US yields hit multi-year highs. Lata joins us now to wrap up the money market action for us. Lata, yields spiking, the rupee plunging.
Well, this is all global chaos. So over the weekend, the pound plunged so much that you saw fresh highs in the dollar, 114, and US yields, as you said, spiking to almost 3.79, and the two-year US Treasury spiking to 4.2 or even higher. So, you know, the typical reaction is when I get a risk-free return of 4.2 in a two-year Treasury, why should I be staying in EM currencies where, you know, I will even lose the principal on currency depreciation? So we saw in the NDF market overnight a plunge, and all Asian currencies were nearly 1% lower in morning trade. This was just an arithmetic trade in the morning done by hedge funds who operate, you know, in the NDF market and across countries. It isn't as if actual clients like, you know, oil companies came and bought dollars thinking that it will be 82 tomorrow, or, you know, exporters refused to sell. It's not, or that equity traders sold. It was not a real economy play as much as traders correcting positions, covering any short dollar positions. But now all eyes will be on the Reserve Bank. You know, what is the whole number that it is trying to protect? The Reserve Bank in turn will watch whether there are actual outflows. But now that the whole number 80 is gone and the whole number 81 is gone, there is a bit of a catching of the breath between 81.50 and 82. People will watch, but if global cataclysmic moves happen in the financial market, even this will pass. Everyone is waiting to see where there is a bit of a catching of the breath and a feeling that enough is enough. In the bond markets, yes, yields have spiked, and that's obviously led by US yields, in spite of the fact that we have an advantage with crude really crashing. You know, people are only looking at the way US yields are surging. The bond markets are now actually already factored in a 50 bips hike. Our own Citizens MPC has voted 4:1 in favor of a 50 basis hike. So it is already in the price. If you looked at the OIS, the overnight index swaps market, which is really the most active, reactive market, that has priced in something like 6.9% 1 year down the line, which means they believe that if the Fed goes to 4.5 and 4.75, then India's peak rate also has to be 6.75 or even higher. So a lot is already priced in, but just as a matter of detail, today only the 10-year bond by end of trade, actually the yields fell a little, because looks like, you know, foreign banks are seriously short and they actually had to cover. But otherwise, yields are on the upswing.
Lata, many thanks. As Lata was mentioning, the rupee was not alone. The British pound also weakening to a record low against the dollar overnight after the new government announced tax cuts despite high inflation. Meanwhile, the euro has also touched a two-decade low. The Australian dollar has hit multi-year lows, the Chinese yuan falling to the weakest level in 28 months. Other Asian currencies like Japan's yen and South Korea's won has also weakened. In fact, the finance minister speaking at the Network 18 town hall saying that the Reserve Bank is not aiming at fixing the exchange rate. RBI intervention is more to avoid fluctuation in the currency, and the government believes that the rupee so far is holding out well. That was the finance minister speaking at the Network 18 town hall. From currencies to stocks, it was a sea of red across the world. The Sensex and the Nifty falling to the lowest level in 2 months. The fall was led by financial stocks, but the sell-off was broad-based. Mid-caps have seen sharper cuts in the blue chips, about 11 lakh crore rupees worth of investor wealth being wiped out in the last 2 trading sessions. Anuj joins us now to wrap up the day's market action. Anuj, global volatility, and today we were not spared either.
Well, the Indian market clearly is catching up with the global trend, and today there was a big risk off. The market's trade was about an algo trade today, which was on the currency, the dollar rupee making a move towards 82. So you had the IT stocks, which were strong, and financials, which were weak. And also money was taken off the table in some of the outperformers like autos. The market breadth very poor at 1:10. Autos led the decline. So names like Tata Motors, Maruti, Eicher, all of these stocks have been doing well, but today was a risk off clearly. ITC, Reliance and HDFC were the other stocks which put quite a bit of pressure on the market. In fact, talking of HDFC, the other financials also did poorly. So Axis, ICICI, HDFC Bank and Kotak were also down. IT was the sort of only pocket which managed to hold out. HCL Tech, Infosys and TCS ending in the green. And in the broader market, you had some sharp declines in names like RBL Bank, Canfin Homes and India Cement. All in all, a weak session.
Well, the market selling off today. Anuj, many thanks for joining us. And Paul Schulte, the founder and editor of Schulte Research, spoke to us about the market fundamentals. He believes more pain is in store.
As we're going into October, I just think that we are in for I feel like there's pain coming because the Fed is not going to give in. Russia's closing its borders apparently on Wednesday. These coup rumors about Xi Jinping, which are total nonsense, don't go away. There's a lot of instability in the world, and I just don't see what's going to cause a sudden risk-on shift in sentiment right now. I don't know what that is. I can't see anything on the horizon.
And moving on to oil prices in the red for the second straight day, with Brent trading below $86 a barrel as fears of demand destruction and a surging dollar have impacted buyer sentiment. Now, crude continues to remain under pressure, even as OPEC Plus producers say they may curb output to support prices. In fact, back home, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, while speaking at the Network 18 town hall, said the government will need to see the losses of oil marketing companies before deciding on a cut in prices. Remember, crude has now dropped to an 8-month low, but we've seen no change as far as retail prices are concerned. Take a look.
I'll have to actually talk to the oil marketing companies to understand where their recovery levels are. Because after all, there were times when they were even importing it at 120, 110, 118. I don't know what kind of losses they've made. I need to work it out with them.
And the finance minister also defended the GST architecture in the town hall, saying that institution building is a painful job that takes time and that trashing it is easy. The Tamil Nadu Finance Minister P. Thiagarajan has called for an overhaul of the GST model. The finance minister responding.
Dumping it and saying, I have a better proposition, sorry, we'll try it, but I'm not sure if that's the way to go about it. Institution building does take time. It's a painful job. All of us will have to contribute to it. To trash it is absolutely easy.
Well, moving away from the GST after rate hikes by the US Fed and other global central banks, the RBI's Monetary Policy Committee is likely to follow suit this week. Majority in the CNBC-TV18 Citizens Monetary Policy Committee expects a 50 basis point hike to the repo rate. Remember, the policy is on Friday.
May I ask you the first and most important question? How much will the rate action be from the MPC in this policy? Samira.
We are calling for a 50 basis point repo hike.
Shaumya?
We are calling for a 50 basis point
50 basis hike. Sonal?
50 basis point hike.
Okay, I'll come to Dr. Sen later. Sajid?
A 50 basis point hike.
Chairman, sir, 4 of your members, 50.
Well, I agree with Shaumiran's diagnosis. I would say the rate should creep upwards. I would go to 35.
Okay, so it's 4:1 there. The chairman saying 35, but the other members of our Citizens Monetary Policy saying a 50 basis point rate hike is what the MPC is likely to deliver when it meets. A quick check of some of the key headlines we're tracking this evening. A CNBC-TV18 news break is confirmed. Sources in the Power Ministry say that the government has rejected the proposal for Power Grid to acquire majority stake in Rural Electrification Corporation. PFC holds 53% in REC. The ministry has said the government has decided to continue REC as PFC's company. The government's GST kitty remains strong. Sources say GST collections are likely to be in the range of 1.47 lakh crores to 1.5 lakh crores. The growth in collections is likely to come on the back of higher festival buying and healthy sales in Tier 2 cities. The GST Intelligence Unit has issued a show-cause notice to Bengaluru-based online gaming startup Gamescraft Technology. The company has been accused of not paying GST to the tune of 21,000 crore rupees. This is the biggest show-cause notice in the history of indirect taxation. However, the company says authorities are claiming dues on the basis of 28% applicable tax to the games of chance and lottery instead of 18% applicable to online platforms of games of skill. And staying with gaming, the Tamil Nadu State Cabinet has approved another ordinance to ban online gaming in the state after its first attempt was struck down by the Madras High Court. The Governor's approval to the ordinance is pending. Maruti Suzuki has unveiled its mid-size SUV, the Grand Vitara. The model is the brand new flagship offering from the company. The base variant has been priced at over 10 lakh rupees. It comes equipped with a hybrid powertrain, includes 6 airbags, and the Grand Vitara will compete with the likes of Kia Seltos, the Hyundai Creta, the Volkswagen Taygun, and the Tata Harrier, among others. Tata Motors has widened its pickup truck offerings, launching 4 new models priced between 8 to 10 lakh rupees. Among them, the Intra V20 will be the first in-class pickup truck with biofuel capabilities. The company said that they are investing 2,000 crore rupees a year in the CV segment. India Inc. is pinning its hopes on a demand pickup as the festive season kicks off. Axis Bank's Amitabh Chaudhary believes the festivities can change the mood across rural and semi-urban markets. Girish Bagh of Tata Motors is also upbeat, expects sales growth to hit double-digit this year.
A lot of people are looking forward to this festive season coming up, which has already started, and the evidence which we are seeing, especially for the right products, right brands, is huge. I think Indian consumer is looking for that right value proposition, and if it is offered to them, they grab it. So I do expect that in the festive season things will pick up. Obviously, the rural and the semi-urban demand is a bit muted. Hopefully, this will help revive that demand and take it forward.
But I'm also curious in terms of what the future would look like from a festive season perspective. We are of course entering what is most likely to be the promising period in terms of sales. But even though there are undercurrents of a slowdown, there is talk of global recession. Would these weigh in on the kind of projections you've set for yourselves in the near to medium term?
So that's right. I think the commercial vehicle industry volumes are always a function of how the headwinds and tailwinds act with each other, right? So we do have headwinds in terms of the interest rate growing up and the fuel prices. But it appears that the fuel prices seems to be stabilizing, so that's one good news. As far as the interest rate is concerned, I think we are watching the impact. But if you look at the tailwinds, I think whether it is increasing consumption, government's focus on infrastructure, I think that is leading to tailwind being more than headwind. And therefore, I think the sentiments are better and we see growth happening even in this year. Of course, FY19 was our peak. From there, we had dropped by almost 50% in FY21. Over that low base, I think we grew by 26% last year. In my view, we should be growing in double digits even this year.
While India Inc. hoping for a demand pickup as the festive season kicks in. The big international stories tonight. Italy is set to take a far-right turn as Giorgia Meloni, leader of a party with neo-fascist origins, is set to become the next prime minister. She will be Italy's first female prime minister and also the first far-right politician to lead the country since the late dictator Mussolini. Here's a CNBC report.
Giorgia Meloni, the leader of the Brothers of Italy party, is on track to become Italy's next prime minister. Now, the centre-right coalition, which includes Silvio Berlusconi's Forza Italia and Matteo Salvini's Lega party, is on pace to win a majority in both houses of parliament, taking around 44% of the seats in both the Chamber of Deputies and the Senate. And in a speech following the release of the first exit polls, Meloni said she would lead a government with the aim of uniting the country.
If we will be called to govern this country, we will do it for all Italians, for everybody, with the goal of uniting this people, of stressing what unites rather than what divides.
Well, meanwhile, a senior member of the Democratic Party has expressed disappointment, but vowed to be a strong opposition force in Parliament.
This is a sad night for the country. This is not a positive outcome. We are, however, the first opposition in Parliament. We are also the second political force. We will make an opposition, an important opposition, and we will have a great responsibility.
So this right-wing coalition has promised stable governance, but divisions remain between its three main parties. Berlusconi's Forza Italia presents itself as a pro-European party, whilst Lega and Brothers of Italy have expressed some anti-EU sentiment in the past. However, perhaps the deepest divisions come on Ukraine, where Meloni has consistently hit out at Russia for its invasion and pledged to maintain Western sanctions. But coalition partner Matteo Salvini, on the other hand, has urged caution over the measure's economic impact.
Well, from political developments in Italy to the latest in Russia, at least 13 people, including 7 children, dead after a gunman opened fire at a school in Russia. He reportedly killed himself, but the motive of the attack is unclear as of now. Unilever CEO Alan Jope announced his intention to retire at the end of 2023. The company's board will consider internal and external candidates to succeed him. Jope took charge as CEO of the MNC in January of 2019. Apple has begun assembling its flagship iPhone 14 at Foxconn's plant in Tamil Nadu's Sri Perambudur. This is the first time Apple's latest model of the iPhone will be manufactured in India. The instrument will be sold here in the domestic market and exported as well. We will head into a break, but up next, SpiceJet struggles to make headway against increasingly powerful headwinds. What does the future look like for the airline? Will it be able to recover from its financial crisis? A special report when we return.